Okay, good afternoon, students. Today, the topic for the discussion is the subordinate judiciary. Before this, I have already taught you about the Supreme Court, which is the highest court of appeal in India. That means at the top of Indian judiciary, there is Supreme Court, and in each and every state there are high courts. There are high courts, and I have already taught you about the high courts. There are high courts in every state. Now, below high court also you will find a number of courts right from the district down to the village level or the town level with different names like Panchayat Adalat, Nyayik Panchayat, Small Causes Court, etc. Now, this is the highest court of appeal in the country, and this is the highest court of appeal in a state. As for example, High Court of West Bengal, there in Kolkata, it is the highest court of appeal in West Bengal. Now, in West Bengal, in a state, you will find the divisions, a number of divisions are there, and each division is called district. Now, in the district also and below the district, there are subdivision, and the subdivisions may be also divided into a number of areas, like if it is rural area, it is Panchayat area, and if it is town area, it is municipal area. So, in each and every level of the administrative units, you will find the courts. Now, today we will say the subordinate judiciary. So, first you have to understand what is subordinate judiciary. So, subordinate judiciary is the judiciary below the high court. All the courts under the control of a high court in a state or in a district, right from the district court down to the village level court, small causes court. So, this collectively, this is called the subordinate judiciary. So, subordinate judiciary को अर्थ चाहिँ के हो भने जति पनि हाई कोर्ट को अधीनमा भएको डिस्ट्रिक्ट कोर्ट र डिस्ट्रिक्ट कोर्ट को मुनि जति पनि कोर्टहरु छ जुन चाहिँ जुडिशियल सिस्टम छ combinedly called the subordinate judiciary. So, subordinate judiciary is the court below high court. All the courts, we can write all the courts. All the courts below the high court is called the subordinate judiciary. Okay? So, subordinate judiciary भनेको चाहिँ त्यो हो. Now, first we will say the subordinate judiciary, its organization, its powers and functions. So, first we will say the subordinate judiciary at the top you will find district court, political unit, administrative unit. Below a state, or we can say within a state, you will find a number of district. That means a state has been divided into number of district, and for district you will find district administrative unit. As for example, for the administration you will find district magistrate office and a number of other offices. Now, in the district also you will find, below the district also you will find a number of courts. Now, right from this district court down to the village level court, sometimes we call it Panchayat Adalat or sometimes we call Nyay Panchayat, or sometimes it is also called the small causes court. Right from district down to the village level courts or the town level courts, all the courts combinedly called the subordinate judiciary. So, subordinate judiciary को definition लेख्दाखेरि के भन्छ? How you can define the subordinate judiciary? Subordinate judiciary has been defined as all the courts below the high court, below and under the control of high court, right from the district court to the village or town level court. All the courts combined we call the subordinate judiciary. र सिम्पल भाषामा भन्नु भने डिस्ट्रिक्टमा भएको डिस्ट्रिक्ट कोर्ट, सब डिभिजनमा भएको सब डिभिजन कोर्ट, त्यसको मुनि गाउँ एरियामा छ भने, भिलेज एरियामा छ भने, स्मल टाउनतिर छ भने स्मल कजेस कोर्ट, अथवा त्यहाँनिर पञ्चायत एरिया छ भने न्याय पञ्चायत अथवा पञ्चायत अदालत, हैन? अनि बीचमा वी फाइन्ड डिफरेन्ट सिस्टम्स अफ एडमिनिस्ट्रेसन, डिफरेन्ट administrative units are there, and for that purpose we find different units. जस्तो तिमीले पाउँछौ, there are some towns which are much more improved, which are much more developed, and they also have a number of facilities. Even the population is also more. Then we call that area, that administrative unit as the metropolitan. It is called metropolitan city. As for example, Siliguri, as for example, Kolkata. So what we find? Metropolitan city. So in the metropolitan city, you will find different judicial system. That is, at the top you will find metropolitan magistrate court. Below that you will find civil city court, civil session court. त्यसपछि तल हामीले स्मल कजेस कोर्ट. So these are the various courts. Now, right from district down to this village level, town level court, under the high court is known as the subordinate judiciary. Okay, so this is the idea or the meaning or the definition of subordinate judiciary. Now, we will see the first, in the subordinate judiciary, which court is at the top? If you see, you will find the district court. Subordinate judiciary को top मा चाहिँ हामी पाउँछौँ district court. अब हामी देख्छौँ district court मा, district level मा. In the previous classes, I taught you that in different places we find broadly the cases are divided into three. Number one is civil cases, number two is criminal cases, and number three is constitutional cases. Three cases. So here what we find, in order to settle those cases, we find the different levels of courts are there. So here also in the same thing. In India, what you find, we are talking about the Indian judiciary. So here what we find, in almost all states of India, for some states, for one or more state, for more than one state, there is one single high court, as for example, northeast area. And for some one state and adjoining Union territory, there is the same common high court is there. Now, below the high court, you will find the district court. Our district court we find the two types of cases. So first is we deal with the civil cases. District level मा civil case को लागि चाहिँ कुन कोर्टहरु हुन्छ भन्दाखेरि हामी फर्स्ट मा पाउँछौं डिस्ट्रिक्ट मा चाहिँ फर्स्ट मा चाहिँ डिस्ट्रिक्ट जजेस कोर्ट. डिस्ट्रिक्ट जजेस कोर्ट त्यहाँनिर हुन्छ. And the district judges courts is composed of number one, the district judge supported by assistant judge, additional judge. And this district judge court can take up the cases up to rupees 5,000, value of rupees 5,000. And here we find the district judges court has both jurisdiction. I have already taught you what is original jurisdiction and what is appellate jurisdiction. Now, original jurisdiction, the district judge may take the original jurisdiction, original cases in the original form. That is, as to exercise the power of judicial, this original jurisdiction, the district judge may accept the cases directly from the party, from the people, even from the government side also. Party means not political party. Party means the persons who are involved in the case. So, the district judge, the district court may take the cases directly, civil cases directly, and this is called the original jurisdiction of the district court. Now, you know, below the district court, there are other courts. Below the district court, you will find other courts. So, as I have already told you while discussing the High Court and the Supreme Court, High Court and Supreme Court has also original as well as appellate jurisdiction. Suppose the cases, that is sub-judges court, this is for just to know, just to make you understand this point, just to explain this only. Below the district court, you will find sub-judges court. Now, the sub-judges court, the cases from the sub-judges court may be transferred to the district court, district judges court. So, the district judges court can take the cases from the lower court in the form of appellate jurisdiction. That means the district court, being the highest court of appeal in our district, can take up the cases as appellate cases, appellate jurisdiction, to exercise the appellate jurisdiction, power of appellate jurisdiction from the lower court. त्यसको मतलब के भयो भने डिस्ट्रिक्ट जजले ओरिजिनल केस पनि टेकअप गर्छ अनि एपेलेट केस पनि टेकअप गर्छ. सो डिस्ट्रिक्ट जजको त्यो पावर त्यहाँनिर हुन्छ. ओके, सो डिस्ट्रिक्ट जजमा अघि नै मैले भने district judges court ma you will find district judge and additional judges are also there, assistant judges are also there. Okay, यो भयो, this is about district judges civil case ma. Below you will find sub judges court. Sub judges court, sub judges court ma it is in the subdivision. Subdivisional level ma you will find the sub judges court consisted of the judge, assistant judge, etc. Now, this sub-judge has the right to take up the cases, the value of rupees 1,000 to 5,000. So, these sub-judges also has the right to take up the cases in the original form. Original form means to take the cases directly. That means the people, the party, the person, the group, the association, if they are not satisfied with anybody, they can file the cases in the sub-judges court. Sub-judges court भनौँ न हैन, sub-judges court मा जसलाई हामी sub-judges court भन्छौँ, directly case लिनु सक्छ in the form of appellate jurisdiction. फेरि below the sub-judges court you will find Munsif court, and below you will find the Nyay Panchayat and small causes court also. अब हेर सब जजेस कोर्टको पनि मन्सिफ कोर्ट छ हैन, अनि यो मन्सिफ कोर्टमा यो जुन चाहिँ न्याय पञ्चायत छ यो केसेसहरुमा यो कोर्टहरुबाट पनि केसेसहरु चाहिँ रेफर गर्नु सक्छ सब जजेस कोर्टमा. So, if the cases are referred to the sub-judges court, अनि appellate को विषयमा I have already taught you, appellate jurisdiction can be carried on by different ways. Number one पाउँछ, suppose some party, some person is not satisfied with the verdict given by this court, they may file the case in the higher court. Then the higher court may accept the case in the form of appellate jurisdiction. Sometimes, if the party is not happy, directly can file the case in the sub-judges court. So, sub-judges court also has both original and appellate jurisdiction. अघि मैले भने 1000 देखि 5000 सम्मको. त्यसपछि हामी देख्छौं तल मुन्सिफ कोर्ट. अब यो पनि before that I want to tell you one thing. In India there are many states, and in different states you will find judiciary system, and all the judicial system of all the states are more or less same, but there are some differences. There are some differences. What is the differences? Differences is based on the area, based on the population. जस्तो अब हामी देख्छौं even यहाँनिर हामी हेर हैन, we are here in Kalimpong, we have this system, but at the same time if you go to Siliguri, you will find Siliguri is a metropolitan city. So in the metropolitan city you will find metropolitan magistrate court, हैन. अनि यहाँनिर different levels, here in the district of Kalimpong, different levels of courts are there. Same courts are also there, but with the different names. But sometimes it also happens in a country, in a state, in a subdivision, all the subdivisions, all the areas of the subdivisions are urbanized. That means urban area. So there is no need of Nyaya Panchayat. There is no need of this the Panchayati area, Panchayati Adalat. त्यस्तो हुन्छ त्यहाँनिर. So depending on the area and the population, we find small differences. Some differences are there, but we do not find the 100% difference. यहाँ मैले भन्न सकेको के भने इन्डियाको सबअर्डिनेट जुडिसियरीमा मोरलेस एउटै हुन्छ, तर एरिया हेरेर अलिकति फरक हुन्छ. जस्तो अब सिटीतिर सिटी कोर्ट हुन्छ हैन, whereas यहाँनिर हामी के देख्छौँ सब जजेस कोर्टहरु हुन्छ हैन, त्यति फरक हो. तर मेनली चाहिँ all the subordinate judiciaries are to follow the order or follow the circular, follow the rules and regulations given under this procedure of civil law, that is civil procedure, and we can write is criminal procedure court, and civil procedure code. Code of criminal procedure and code of civil procedure. And beside that there are certain statutes, there are certain laws which the judiciary have to follow. So they have to follow whatever may be the area, whether it is metropolitan, whether it is municipal court, or whether it is sub-judges court or the district court, all have to follow these code, these rules and regulations that is given in the law. That is code of criminal procedure, code of civil procedure, and the statutory law. र यसरी हामी यहाँनिर देख्छौँ. अब यो भयो. त्यसपछि below you will find in some small towns, you will find in some area the area is rural, area is urban, but not so developed, so small town. So you will find here small causes court also. And even in the rural area you will find Nyaya Panchayat also. गाउँतिर कतिवटा झगडाहरू हुन्छ, मण्डलहरूले त्यहाँनिर हैन पञ्चायत प्रधानहरूले मिलाइराखेको हुन्छ हैन. They are also given the power हैन. र यसरी हामी के देख्छौँ, right from the district down to the village level you will find the courts in the various level. अब यो चाहिँ भयो तिम्रो सिभिल केसमा हैन. Similarly you will find criminalमा हामी पाउँछौँ डिस्ट्रिक्ट सेसन कोर्ट. डिस्ट्रिक्ट सेसन कोर्ट भनेर तिमीले पाउँछौ. क्रिमिनल प्रोसिड्युरको लागि क्रिमिनल केसेस इन अर्डर टु सेटल द क्रिमिनल केसेस त्यहाँनिर हामी छौँ डिस्ट्रिक्ट सेसन जज, डिस्ट्रिक्ट सेसन कोर्ट. अब यसमा हामी डिस्ट्रिक्ट सेसन जज पाउँछौँ, एडिसनल जज, एसिस्टेन्ट जजहरू हामी पाउँछौँ। अनि त्यसपछि हामी देख्छौँ त्यहाँनिर दिस कोर्ट अल्सो हेज द बोथ पावर होइन, जुरिस्डिक्सन, ओरिजिनल जुरिस्डिक्सन एन्ड द एपेलेट जुरिस्डिक्सन होइन, दुईटै टाइप अफ केसहरू छ। मैले ओरिजिनल एपेलेट बताइहालेँ होइन, डाइरेक्ट पनि लिन सक्छ, तलबाट आउनु पनि सक्छ, त्यो भयो। त्यसपछि हामी यसको बादमा हामी देख्छौँ सब डिभिजन लेभलमा चाहिँ सब डिभिजनल म्याजिस्ट्रेट कोर्ट हामी त्यहाँनिर देख्छौँ। सब डिभिजनल म्याजिस्ट्रेट कोर्ट, अनि यो म्याजिस्ट्रेट पनि दुई प्रकारको हुन्छ। एउटा चाहिँ हुन्छ एक्जिक्युटिभ म्याजिस्ट्रेट, अनि अर्को चाहिँ हुन्छ जुडिसियल म्याजिस्ट्रेट। एक्जिक्युटिभ म्याजिस्ट्रेट, जुडिसियल म्याजिस्ट्रेट। तर अब अहिले चाहिँ प्रायः एक दुईवटा स्टेट जस्तो जम्मू काश्मीर, नागाल्यान्ड बाहेक अलमोस्ट अल स्टेट्सहरूमा चाहिँ के भन्छ नि, यो सब डिभिजनल म्याजिस्ट्रेट कोर्टमा प्रायः यो जुडिसियल म्याजिस्ट्रेट कोर्टले नै सबै डिल गर्छ होइन। द्याट मिन्स द केसेस रिलेटेड विथ द क्राइम, द्याट इज क्रिमिनल केसेस इन द सब डिभिजनल लेभल। यो टपमा चाहिँ भयो, डिस्ट्रिक्टमा भयो, बिलो डिस्ट्रिक्ट म्याजिस्ट्रेट कोर्ट, द्याट इज सब डिभिजनल म्याजिस्ट्रेट कोर्ट होइन, जो चाहिँ दुई प्रकारको हुन्छ। अब यहाँ पनि बोथ ओरिजिनल पनि छ, एपेलेट पनि छ। डाइरेक्ट केसेस क्यान बी टेकन बाई दिस, or some of the cases are also referred to the higher court, that is the sub-divisional magistrate court. So, sub-divisional magistrate court may take both cases, direct cases, original, referred cases, that is appellate. अनि यहाँनिर हामी के पाउँछौँ, म्याजिस्ट्रेट चाहिँ तीन प्रकारको हुन्छ, फर्स्ट क्लास म्याजिस्ट्रेट, सेकेन्ड क्लास म्याजिस्ट्रेट एन्ड द थर्ड क्लास म्याजिस्ट्रेट होइन। र यसरी उनीहरूको त्यो चाहिँ आफ्नो उनीहरूलाई द पावर गिभन टु देम, उनीहरूलाई कस्तो पावर दिएको हुन्छ त्यसको आधारमा चाहिँ यो केसहरू त्यहाँनिर हुन्छ। त्यसपछि हामी देख्छौँ तल पञ्चायत अदालत। सो पञ्चायत अदालत, सो भिलेज लेभलमा अथवा तल डाउनतिर पनि हामी यहाँनिर के देख्छौँ भने यहाँ हामी देख्छौँ स्मल कजेस कोर्ट नै देख्छौँ, सानसानो कोर्टहरू त्यहाँनिर हुन्छ। र जस्ट लाइक द सिभिल केसेस वी अल्सो फाइन्ड द सेम लेभल, द्याट इज इन द भिलेज लेभल, पञ्चायत लेभल, देन इन द सब डिभिजन लेभल एन्ड अबभ द डिस्ट्रिक्ट लेभल इन द क्रिमिनल प्रोसिड्युर होइन। यसरी क्रिमिनल केसेसहरू दिस आर dealt by the district session court होइन। Sometimes if you are here in Kalimpong, then you can visit the court होइन। माथि टपमा म्युनिसिपालिटी अफिसको छेउमा you will find court, त्यहाँनिर दिएको छ डिस्ट्रिक्ट सेसन कोर्ट। त्यसमा अब क्रिमिनल केसेसपट्टि हो भने डिस्ट्रिक्ट सेसन कोर्ट हुन्छ, अनि सिभिल केसेसमा हो भने डिस्ट्रिक्ट जजेस कोर्ट हुन्छ। त्यहाँभित्र फेरि अब सब डिभिजन लेभलको पनि हुन्छ। पहिला त प्रिभियसली कालिम्पोङ वाज सब डिभिजन, सो सब डिभिजन कोर्ट्स वर अल्सो देयर, नाउ इट इज अपग्रेडेड टु द डिस्ट्रिक्ट कोर्ट। सो युल फाइन्ड डिस्ट्रिक्ट कोर्ट एज वेल एज सब डिभिजन कोर्ट्स आर अल्सो देयर। ओके, यो चाहिँ भयो तिमीको सिभिल र क्रिमिनल, यो चाहिँ टाउनहरूमा। आई हेभ अलरेडी टोल्ड यु मेट्रोपोलिटन सिटी एन्ड द टाउन। इफ द टाउन इज मच मोर डेभलप्ड, इफ द टाउन हेज मोर पपुलेसन, then the area is called metropolitan. And you know, in the metropolitan there are many administrative units just like that town, but some differences are also there. So similarly in the judicial system also you will find in the district level for the metropolitan city, just as for example Siliguri भन्नु होइन, त्यहाँनिर हामी के देख्छौँ मेट्रोपोलिटन डिस्ट्रिक्टमा चाहिँ के छ टपमा चाहिँ मेट्रोपोलिटन म्याजिस्ट्रेट कोर्ट, यो डिस्ट्रिक्टको भयो मेट्रोपोलिटन म्याजिस्ट्रेट कोर्ट होइन। एट द टपमा मेट्रोपोलिटनको टपमा चाहिँ अब यु क्यान कम्पेयर मेट्रोपोलिटन त मच मोर डेभलप्ड डिस्ट्रिक्ट भनौँ न होइन। त्यसमा हामी मेट्रोपोलिटन म्याजिस्ट्रेट कोर्ट पाउँछौँ, त्यहाँ पनि त्यस्तै छ। अघि यहाँनिर आई जस्ट वान्ट टु रिपिट द थिङ हियर, फर्स्ट सेकेन्ड थर्ड क्लास मेजिस्ट्रेट मैले भने हैन त्यो मध्ये चाहिँ हियर आई एम टकिङ अबाउट द सेसन कोर्ट डिस्ट्रिक्ट सेसन कोर्ट यहाँनिर हामी देख्छौँ सब डिभिजन कोर्टमा यु विल फाइन्ड वान चिफ मेजिस्ट्रेट चिफ जुडिसियल मेजिस्ट्रेट तिमीहरू यहाँ पाउँछौ चिफ जुडिसियल मेजिस्ट्रेट सब यो डिस्ट्रिक्ट सेसनमा यु विल फाइन्ड चिफ जुडिसियल मेजिस्ट्रेट अब यहाँनिर हामी फर्केर आउँदा लेट अस कन्टिन्यू दिस हैन मेट्रोपोलिटन मेजिस्ट्रेट कोर्ट इज द हाइएस्ट कोर्ट इन द मेट्रोपोलिटन सिटी लाइक कोलकाता लाइक Siliguri etc. Okay. So this also has both cases original appellate direct case take up गर्छ इनडाइरेक्ट केसेसहरु पनि रेफर केसहरु पनि त्यहाँनिर टेक अप गर्छ अब यसमा पनि सिभिल पनि हामी पाउँछौं र क्रिमिनल पनि हामी पाउँछौं जसरी अब just like here in the district level we will find differences division of the cases into civil and criminal. Similarly here in the metropolitan also you will find the same system civil and criminal त्यहाँनिर हामी पाउँछौं मेट्रोपोलिटन को सिटीमा फर्स्टमा अब हामी देख्छौं यसको बादमा हामी के देख्छौं यहाँनिर सब डिभिजन लेभलमा हामी देख्छौं सब डिभिजनल म्याजिस्ट्रेट कोर्ट सो we are talking about the metropolitan magistrate, metropolitan city, the judiciary system in the metropolitan city. So in the metropolitan city, at the top there is metropolitan magistrate court, which is consisted of the judge, chief judge and other judges, metropolitan judge and other judges, assistant judges, etc. Now, just like other courts, you will find the division of the cases into civil and the criminal. This is criminal and this is civil. And in order to settle the civil cases, disputes regarding the civil cases, you will find civil city court. Towns नभएर city मा metropolitan city मा हामी पाउँछौं त्यहाँनिर civil city court पाउँछौं. So this also has both jurisdiction. Here in judiciary what we find, first we have to know whether that court has the original jurisdiction, the power of original jurisdiction, or the second one is the appellate jurisdiction. So this has both the jurisdiction because below this you will find below this small civil cities court you will find small causes court. So the cases may be decided by the court. And sometimes the people, the party are not satisfied, so they may go to the higher court. So this court may accept the cases in the form of appellate jurisdiction. Sometimes it may directly take the cases from the people, from the party or the people who are involved in the case. So this also has both original and the appellate jurisdiction. Just below that you will find small cases court. That means small petty questions. पेटी केसेस हैन सानसानो केसेस भन्छ नि हैन सानसानो केसेसहरु झगडा इत्यादि चाहिँ यो लेभलमा मिलाउँछ हैन अब यसमा चाहिँ पञ्चायत एरिया हुँदैन बिकज मेट्रोपोलिटन सिटी अब ठुलो सिटी हो हैन यसरी हामी देख्छौं स्मल कजेस कोर्टहरु त्यहाँ दिएको छ सो हियर इन मेट्रोपोलिटन सिटी वी विल फाइन्ड स्मल कजेस कोर्ट above that city civil court civil city court and above the metropolitan magistrate court. This is the civil cases. Our criminal cases ma हामी देख्छौं in the criminal cases you will find civil session court. Civil session court and this court also has both original and appellate jurisdiction and many cases are referred from the presidency small causes court from the from the court which is below it. So it is the cases are referred. So this also accept the such cases in the form of appellate jurisdiction. So we find the city session court and below that you will find presidency small causes court. So small cases are also settled by this court. So, this is the organization and the functions of the metropolitan, the judicial system, subordinate judiciary in the metropolitan and the metropolitan city. Okay. So, here हामीले के पायौं? So, whether it is the civil case or the criminal cases, or whether the area is town or village or the highly developed town, that is metropolitan city, we find the district level, metropolitan level, sub-regional level and the block level, municipal level or small towns level, etc. So, in all the levels we will find judiciary. Because it is the responsibility of the government to help the people, and in order to help the people there must be good judicial system. मैले सुरुमा तिमीलाई पढाएँ हैन, कुनै पनि देशको अवस्था, देशको पोजिसन, इम्प्रेसन कस्तो छ भन्दाखेरि it depends on the how best the judicial system. So it is the responsibility of the government to provide justice to the people, and in order to provide the justice there must be judicial system in each and every level. In each and every level of the administrative unit, like sub-division, like village, like state, even in the national level also, the judicial system is there. अब हामी देख्छौं जजेसहरु. Before I already told you that in the district you will find district judges, and the district judges are appointed by the governor in consultation with the High Court. Suppose Darjeelingको कालिम्पोङको district courtमा district judge appointment गर्नु छ भने appointment authority or the appointment letter is given by the governor of West Bengal, and governor of West Bengal has to consult the High Court, judges of the High Court or the Chief Justice of the High Court. त्यसपछि अरु जजेस जस्तो भयो एडिसनल जज भयो हैन, अरु जजेस भयो, एसिस्टेन्ट जजेसहरु भयो हैन, सेसन जज भयो, सरी सेसन यहाँ आउँछ, अरु जजेस भयो, they are appointed by the governor, but they have to, he has to consult, the governor has to consult the Public Service Commission of that state. Just as for example, if assistant judges in West Bengal are to be in the level in the courts are to be appointed, then Governor of West Bengal has to consult the Public Service Commission of West Bengal. West Bengal Public Service Commission एउटा exam conduct गर्छ, जसले LLB, LLM गरेको छ उनीहरुले त्यो exam WBJS West Bengal Judicial Service exam पास गरेको हुन्छ, त्यहाँदेखि चाहिँ उसले त्यहाँनिर प्र्याक्टिस गरेको हुन्छ, अनि he or she can be appointed as the judges. अब क्वालिफिकेसनमा फेरि जोसुकैले भएन, नम्बर 1 त सिटिजन अफ इन्डिया हुनै पर्यो है, सिटिजन अफ इन्डिया हुनै पर्यो, नम्बर 2 चाहिँ हुनु पर्यो 7 years experience. There must be 7 years experience. 7 years experience means after the graduation, after the LLM, LLB, he or she must have served the judicial system, judiciary as the advocate or legal officer, anything, and the minimum it should be 7 years. र यो qualification छ भने can be appointed. So Article 223 of the Indian Constitution ले चाहिँ district judges को appointment, and Article 224 ले चाहिँ additional judges को appointment गर्छ. Okay, so in this way we find conclusion मा हामी के पाउँछौं, in this way throughout the state we find in different levels different courts are there, and the main purpose of all these courts are to provide justice to the people. So this is about subordinate judiciary. Now I want to tell you, from judiciary many questions are, you can expect many questions. So for 2021 examination this is also important. So you just go through it, you learn it, and make a note on it, and you can do well in your examination. So, the subordinate judiciary. Okay, this much for today. Bye.
Good afternoon everyone, and welcome once again. So we are in unit 2 of high secondary chemistry. The topic is solutions. Okay, so if you recall, the last class was on colligative properties of dilute solutions. Colligative property of dilute solutions, and we were in the first colligative property, which is the relative lowering of vapor pressure. Now in the last class we established the relation for relative lowering of vapor pressure, and the relation that you studied that we studied and established was delta P upon P is equal to XB. Alright, so here we can say delta P upon P naught also. So here delta P is P naught upon P. This, or it is the vapor pressure of pure solvent minus vapor pressure of solution. So therefore delta P is vapor pressure of pure solvent minus vapor pressure of solution, and since vapor pressure of pure solvent is more than the vapor pressure of solution, so therefore there is what we say lowering of vapor pressure. We say it is a lowering of vapor pressure. Okay, and when we divide the lowering of vapor pressure delta P, if you divide this by the total pressure, if you divide this by the pressure of the pure solvent, the vapor pressure of the pure solvent, then this term delta P upon P is relative lowering of vapor pressure. Okay, so what we established in the last lesson was the relative lowering of vapor pressure is equal to the mole fraction of the solute. So XB is the mole fraction of, so this is like this, okay, mole fraction of solute. So XB is the mole fraction of solute. Alright. Okay, so this is what we established, and then we also said at the end that since the relative lowering of vapor pressure is equal to the mole fraction of the solute, which means it is equal to that means this this term delta P upon P naught depends upon the mole fraction of the solute, or it depends upon the number of moles of the solute. It depends upon the number of moles of the solute. Therefore, it is a colligative property. Okay, so that was done in the last lesson. Now, what we do today to conclude the topic of relative lowering of vapor pressure is numerical problem. Okay, so in numericals, we'll just these are very easy numericals, but we'll just take up one problem. So I will draw your attention to this screen. And we will just attempt question number 21. All the questions on the screen is on the relative lowering of vapor pressure on this topic. Okay, so we will just take up one problem, and the rest you can do it yourself. So we will take up question number 21. Say question number 21, it reads as the vapor pressure of water is lowered by 7.9 torr in the presence of a non-volatile solvent, non-volatile solute A. If the vapor pressure of pure water is 23.7 torr, what is the mole fraction of the solute? Okay, very simple problem. Okay, what is the mole fraction of the solute? Okay, so here what is given in question number 21? Answer, what is given is delta P is given. delta P, because vapor pressure is lowered by 7.9 torr. So delta P is 7.9 torr. And what else is given? The P naught is also given. P naught, or the vapor pressure of pure water, is given, and that is equal to 23.7 torr. 23.7 torr. Okay. So what is the mole fraction of the solute? Very simple. So if you see this relation, you can see that XB is the mole fraction of the solute. So mole fraction of solute is equal to XB, and this is equal to delta P upon P naught, and this is equal to 7.9 upon 23.7. Okay, so let me do some calculations to give you the answer. 7.9 divided by 23.7, the answer is 0.33. The answer is 0.33. So this is your answer. The mole fraction of the solute is equal to 0.33. That is how you do question number 21. Okay, and okay, we'll on this right hand side, I will make a small. I'll just make a small note before concluding this particular topic of relative lowering of vapor pressure. So using this relation, we can find molecular weight of solute. We can find the molecular weight of solute using this expression. Okay, how? See, delta P upon P, this is already known, and this is equal to XB. Now XB is the mole fraction of the solute, and you know that mole fraction is equal to weight of solute, or weight of B divided by molecular weight of B divided by weight of A divided by molecular weight of A plus weight of B divided by molecular weight of B. Let me write this, okay, so that you can write down, or delta P upon P naught is equal to WB upon MB upon WA upon MA plus WB upon MB. Okay, so this this expression I am just highlighting it here on the blackboard. This WA upon MA plus WB upon MB is the total number of moles, because mole fraction is what? Mole fraction is the weight of mole fraction is the number of mole of solute divided by the total number of moles. Number of mole of solute is weight of solute divided by molecular weight of solute, and total number of mole is number of mole of solvent. Remember, WA is the weight of solvent. So with WA upon MA is the number of mole of solvent. MA is the molecular weight of the solvent. Okay, so WA upon MA is the molecular weight of solvent. Sorry, WA upon MA is the number of mole of solvent. WB upon MB is the number of mole of solute. So these two together gives you the total number of moles. So total number of mole is this denominator. So number of mole of solute is the numerator. So numerator divided by denominator gives the mole fraction of the solute. Okay, so here this expression is a useful expression. You might have to use this expression while solving the other problems sometimes. Why? Because if you are given delta P, as in this case, if you are given the vapor pressure of the pure solvent, as in this case, and see, if you know the weight of the solute, you know the weight of the solute, you know the molecular weight of the solvent, you know the weight of the solvent. Okay, that means if you know WB, if you know WA, if you know MA, if you know delta P and P naught, then you can find easily MB, because there will be only one unknown. Okay, so this is how you use this first colligative property, which is relative lowering of vapor pressure. Okay, now we will rub this screen. The next colligative property that we will take up is number 2. Colligative is elevation of boiling point. Boiling point. Okay, we will use this expression delta T B. T stands for temperature, B stands for boiling temperature, delta S stands for difference or the elevation. Okay, so this is the next colligative property that we will study about, which is the elevation of boiling point. Now, before we study elevation of boiling point, I think first of all you should know what is the boiling point. What is the meaning of boiling point of a liquid? What is the meaning of boiling point of a liquid? All right. So boiling point of a liquid first. Okay. Probably before +2 standard, you have been, I mean, you have learned that boiling point of a liquid is the temperature at which a liquid boils, isn't it? Okay. So, but in class in the 12th standard, there is a different concept of boiling point which you should know. Okay. Boiling point is we cannot just take boiling point as the temperature at which a liquid boils. Okay, then you will be asked the question, what do you mean by boiling, isn't it? Okay, how do you know that the liquid is boiling? Okay, that question will be asked otherwise. So therefore, you should know the actual concept of boiling and the actual concept of boiling point in this class 12. Okay, so first of all, see, let's take up. I'll give you a illustration. Supposing that we have a solvent here, okay, water, supposing water, okay, and you know that supposing atmospheric pressure, let this be equal to, supposing in Kalimpong it should be say maybe 650 millimeter of mercury. Atmospheric pressure 650 millimeter of mercury, atmospheric pressure. All right. So supposing we have a liquid water in a glass, in a beaker, and supposing the temperature is say 40 degrees centigrade. At 40 degrees centigrade, the molecules of this particular molecules of water will be evaporating, and you will have many molecules on the top. All right. Due to this evaporation, this vapor will be exerting some pressure. Supposing the pressure of the vapor is say, let's say it is say 200 millimeter of mercury. This is the pressure exerted by the vapor. It's 200 millimeter of mercury. Now, supposing you increase the temperature of this water to 80 degrees centigrade. Okay. Then what will be the difference you will find at 80 degrees centigrade? All right. At 80 degrees centigrade, there will be more molecules of water over the surface of this particular liquid, or over the surface of this water. There will be more molecules. Why? Because more evaporation will take place. Due to higher temperature, more evaporation will take place. Okay. And so since more molecules of water have evaporated to the surface, above the surface, naturally you can see that the pressure exerted by this vapor will be more. The vapor pressure will be more. So supposing the vapor pressure here, it is say now 500 millimeter of mercury. 500 millimeter of mercury. Okay. Now, so therefore you can say as the temperature increases, the vapor pressure also increases. Okay. As you go on increasing the temperature, supposing you reach the temperature of say 100 100 degree centigrade. Now at 100 degree centigrade, what happens is there will be all the molecules of water will be maximum over the surface of this particular water. Okay. Now if you measure the temperature, if you measure the vapor pressure, so you can see as the temperature is increasing, the vapor pressure is also increasing. Okay, so it is logical why the vapor pressure increases, because as the temperature increases, more vapors will be gathered on the surface. Okay, but when we reach the temperature of 100 degree centigrade, the vapors have, the molecules have reached the maximum vapor pressure, and that vapor pressure will be found to be equal to 650 millimeter of mercury, and which is equal to the atmospheric pressure. Which is equal to the atmospheric pressure. All right. So therefore, a temperature or a time comes when you are increasing the temperature on a liquid. A time comes when the vapor pressure becomes equal to the atmospheric pressure. Okay, that temperature is known as boiling point of the liquid. All right. Okay. So therefore, see, now if we were at sea level, okay, that means on the sea beach, okay, or a place where the altitude is 0. All right, where the altitude is 0, that is sea level. A sea level is a place where the altitude is 0. All right. So if we are at a sea level, then atmospheric pressure will be 760 millimeter of mercury. Okay, atmospheric pressure is 760 millimeter of mercury. Okay. Now, hypothetically, I'm not checked correctly, but hypothetically, I'm just telling you that supposing the atmospheric pressure of Kalimpong, supposing in this room, the pressure in this room is 650 millimeter of mercury. All right. Okay. So therefore, you can see that this particular liquid cannot give you vapors having pressure more than 650, unless you of course cover the top of the container with a lid. Okay, that the maximum pressure will be 650. Okay, so this is how. Okay, and again there is another thing. This temperature may also be not exactly correct. This temperature pertains to the sea level actually. Okay, 100 degree centigrade pertains to the sea level. Supposing this, instead of 100 degree centigrade, it is say at 95 degree centigrade. At 95 degree centigrade, we reach the vapor pressure equal to atmospheric pressure. Okay, so therefore this 95 degree centigrade will be the boiling point. 95 degree centigrade will be the boiling point of water in this place. Okay, all right. So okay, so this is the boiling point. So how the definition we write is boiling point of a liquid is the temperature at which the vapor pressure becomes equal to the atmospheric pressure. Okay, so this is the atmospheric pressure, so therefore this will be the boiling point. Okay, this will be the boiling point. So boiling point of a liquid is the temperature at which the vapor pressure becomes equal to the atmospheric pressure. So this will be your new concept of boiling point. Okay, so therefore once we know what is boiling point of a liquid, okay, then we will take up the colligative property number 2, which is elevation of boiling point. Okay, so we will rub this again. Been told what is boiling point of a liquid. Okay, boiling point in terms of the vapor pressure. of the liquid. Okay. So now first of all, now let's make a graph. Okay. So let's make it a graph of vapor pressure against temperature. Of a liquid. Graph of vapor pressure against temperature of a liquid. Okay, so I will write on the left hand side. Okay, so this will be your graph. Okay, so this is your vapor pressure. All right, so let's make 0 somewhere here, 0 degree centigrade, and say 100 degrees somewhere here. All right, so this will be 50, so on. Okay, so therefore this will be your what, say minus 20 degree, this will be your minus 10, like that, this will be a minus 5. Okay. All right, so suppose, so therefore this is your temperature, and this minus 5, this point is 0 degree, this point is 100 degree. Okay, it's not, it's 0 degree. Okay, this is minus 5, minus 10. All right, so therefore this is what, the x-axis showing temperature. Okay, so we have liquid, we have a liquid, and over the liquid there are vapors. Over the liquid there are vapors. This vapors is exerting pressure. This is the vapor pressure. On the y-axis we have the vapor pressure. All right. Okay. So naturally it will start from 0, and then maybe say, supposing we are conducting this experiment at sea level. Okay. So therefore at sea level this will be 760 will be what? 760 will be atmospheric pressure. This is your atmospheric pressure. All right, and 100 degree centigrade will be boiling point, 0 degree centigrade will be freezing point, etc. Okay, so now the graph will be something like this. See, the graph will be something like this. All right. Make it a bit steep. We'll make it somewhere like this. Okay, the graph will be something like this. What does this graph show? What this graph shows is that as temperature increases, see, at 50 degree the vapor pressure is here. At say 70 degree, this is supposing 70 degree, the vapor pressure has increased, isn't it? So you can see, as you have seen in the previous previous lesson, or just before this, you have seen that as temperature increases, the vapor pressure increases. So as temperature increases, the vapor pressure is also increasing. So this is why the graph is sloping. There is a positive slope, you can say. The graph is sloping upward. Okay, as temperature increases, the vapor pressure is also increasing. Okay, so now this is the slope of the graph when the temperature is above 0 degree centigrade. Now below 0 degree centigrade, at 0 degree centigrade, see, at 0 degree centigrade we find that there is a sharp change in the slope of the graph. Okay, so the graph will look something like this. There is a sharp change in the slope of the graph below 0 degree. Okay, now why? Because this, at 0 degree centigrade, all of you know what happens is that the water will start solidifying. Okay, this is water. Okay, by the way, sorry, this is water. The water will start to solidify. So, since the water will start to solidify, okay, the graph will be somewhat, the slope will be somewhat different. So, therefore, in the vapor pressure versus temperature graph, okay, you find that you find two segments. Okay, this segment is known as this is the solid phase. In the case of water, it is the ice phase, and this segment is known as the liquid phase. Okay, so therefore, AB solid phase and BC is the liquid phase. Okay, so AB is the solid phase of the graph, solid phase, and the BC is the liquid phase. Okay, so therefore, you can just see, okay, again once more, all right, as the temperature decreases, all right, the vapor pressure also decreases, okay, but at 0 degree centigrade, okay, there is a sharp decrease in vapor pressure now. There is a sharp decrease in vapor pressure because after 0 degree centigrade, the liquid will start to solidify, okay, freezing starts, okay. So therefore, after B, okay, the vapor pressure will be that of the solid phase of the particular solvent of that particular water, okay, or liquid, all right. So this is the nature of the graph, okay, this is the nature of the graph. Now, so I just extended this particular just to show you this breakup. Now we will just make a simple graph. That means we will make a graph like this. Okay, this will be the graph. All right, this will be the graph. All right. So we will know later on. We will know where the temperatures, where the different temperatures are. Okay. So therefore, this is A, this is B, this is C. All right. Okay. So you know 760. Okay. Now, all right. Now you can see in the graph. You can see the atmospheric pressure or the vapor pressure 760 millimeter of mercury. 760 millimeter mercury is reached at what temperature? See, at this temperature, the vapor pressure is less than the atmospheric pressure. At another temperature, higher temperature, the vapor pressure is still less than the atmospheric pressure. But at a temperature equal to TB, at a temperature equal to TB, the vapor pressure becomes equal to the atmospheric pressure. The vapor pressure becomes equal to the atmospheric pressure. Okay, so therefore, this TB is the boiling point of liquid. Okay, or of in this case it is water. Okay, because or water or liquid you can say. Okay. All right. So therefore, at this temperature, the boiling point, at this temperature, the liquid reaches a vapor pressure of 760 millimeter of mercury. So therefore, this TB is the boiling point of that particular liquid. Okay. Now, this is pure solvent. Okay, this is pure solvent. Now, supposing we mix 1 spoon of sugar. 1 spoon of sugar to the same liquid, to the solvent. Okay. Then what happens? Naturally, you have studied this in the lowering of vapor pressure, that a solution will have lower vapor pressure. The vapor pressure will be less than that of solvent. So therefore, you will have less molecules of. Okay, this is a teaspoon. Okay, all right. You will have less molecules of solvent, because whenever a solvent is connected to a solution, its vapor pressure is lowered. Okay, so therefore, since we will have a less vapor pressure, okay, so if we plot the graph of the solution the graph will be something like this. It will be less than, or it will be lower than the graph of the pure solvent. So therefore, ABC represents pure solvent, okay, but A, B dash, C dash, A, B dash, C dash represents solution. Okay, this is solution graph, whereas this is the graph of the pure solvent. Okay, so you can see, if we draw the graph of the pure solvent, okay, then it will be just lower than that of the, sorry, if you draw the graph of the solution, it will be lower than that of the pure solvent. Why? Because the vapor pressure of solution is less than that of pure solvent. Okay, so now see, now when the temperature is TB, when the temperature is TB, at that temperature the solvent, pure solvent is boiling. Why is the pure solvent boiling? Because its vapor pressure is equal to the atmospheric pressure. Okay, but when the temperature of solution is TB, is it boiling? Okay, if you see carefully, what is the pressure of the solution? The pressure of the solution is given by this point. At this point, if you draw a horizontal line on the pressure axis, okay, this is what you get. Okay, so this point is less than the atmospheric pressure. Okay, so therefore at the temperature TB, the solution is not boiling. All right, the solution is not boiling at the temperature TB because its vapor pressure has not reached. Its vapor pressure has not reached the atmospheric pressure. Okay, now we have to find at what temperature of the solution the vapor pressure reaches atmospheric pressure. Okay, for that, see, this is the atmospheric pressure. If you extend this horizontal line to the solution, you can see this point on the solution represents vapor pressure equal to 760 millimeter of mercury. Okay, that means at this point the vapor pressure of the solution is 760 millimeter mercury. Okay, now if you want to find the temperature at which this vapor pressure has reached, then you draw a perpendicular line. You draw a vertical line on the temperature axis. Okay, you find that at this temperature, see, at this temperature, the vapor pressure of the solution is equal to the atmospheric pressure. Okay, now so let's call this temperature TB dash. Okay, TB dash. Okay, so therefore, if the solvent is boiling at TB, if the solvent is boiling at TB, the solution is boiling at TB dash. Okay, so therefore, boiling point of solvent is TB, boiling point of solution is TB dash. Okay, now you can see TB or TB dash is more than TB. TB dash is more than TB. Okay, so therefore that's why we say. So therefore we say that whenever a non-volatile solute is dissolved, a non-volatile solute is dissolved in a solvent, okay, then the boiling point increases. Okay, so that's why we call it what? Elevation. Elevation means increase. To elevate means to increase. So therefore, whenever you dissolve a non-volatile solute in a solvent, the boiling point will increase. Okay, so that means the boiling point of the solution always more than the boiling point of the solvent. Okay, so therefore, TB is the boiling point of the solvent, TB dash is the boiling point of the solution. So elevation of boiling point is symbolically represented by delta TB will be equal to TB dash, boiling point of the solution, minus TB, boiling point of the solvent. This is what we call elevation of boiling point. Okay, so this you just see this carefully and we will rub the board. Okay, so therefore delta TB, you have just seen delta TB. Delta TB is what? Boiling point of solution, and we represent it by TB dash minus boiling point of solvent. We call it TB. Okay. Now, why do we call it colligative property? Okay. So this delta TB is a colligative property. Now, why is delta TB a colligative property? Okay. So the relation is, now there is no deduction, there is no derivation or deduction as in the case of your Raoult's or as in the case of your relative lowering of vapor pressure. Here the relation has been established experimentally and we have to study the relation only. Okay. The relation is delta TB is directly proportional to M. Okay. Where M is the molality. Okay, M is the molality. Okay, so therefore delta TB is directly proportional to M. Okay, so therefore delta TB is a colligative property. So why is delta TB a colligative property? Because delta TB is directly proportional to molality of the solution. Okay, all right. That is the elevation of boiling point of a solution containing a non-volatile solute is directly proportional to molality of solution. And what is the meaning of molality of solution? Which is the number of moles of solute dissolved in 1000 grams solvent. Okay, so therefore it depends only on the number of moles of the solute. Delta TB is dependent only on number of moles of the solute. It is not dependent on the nature of the solute. That's why it is a colligative property. Okay, this relation has been established experimentally. Okay, so if you are asked in the exam, prove that the elevation of boiling point is a colligative property. What we do is we write this relation. We write delta TB is proportional to M. Molality. Okay, so therefore, since delta TB is proportional to M and M is what? Small m is the molality. Molality is the number of mole of solute dissolved in 1000 grams of solvent. Therefore, it is a colligative property. Okay, so this part is this is one part of this particular topic, elevation of boiling point. All right, to prove that delta TB is a colligative property. The next part is what? The next part is the mathematical aspect. Okay, so this portion can be rubbed. Okay, you can see for a while. Okay, so this portion I will just rub this portion, and we'll take up we'll start from this particular point. Okay, from this particular step. Okay, so therefore, since delta TB is proportional to M, therefore we can say delta TB is equal to Kb into m. Kb into m. Okay. Now this Kb is what? Kb is known as, Kb is a constant. Okay. So whenever there is a proportionality sign, all of you know that you can change the proportionality into equation form by using what? Using a constant. And this Kb is a constant, and this constant is known as ebullioscopic constant, or also known as boiling point elevation constant. Boiling point elevation constant. Okay. So how will you define Kb? Now see, Kb, otherwise you can say, to define Kb. To define Kb, okay, we can write, if m is equal to 1, then delta Tb is equal to Kb. Okay, so we can say that Kb, we can say that Kb is the, delta Tb is the elevation of boiling point. So Kb is, or Kb is equal to delta Tb, isn't it? So Kb is the elevation of boiling point when molality of solution is 1, or Kb is elevation of boiling point of a solution, containing 1 mole of solute dissolved in 1000 grams solvent. 1000 grams of solvent. Okay. So this is the meaning of Kb. That's how you define Kb. Okay. So we'll drop this off, and then this just small topic left. Just so we have a small little time left. Okay. And we will just conclude today's lesson by just learning about the unit of Kb. Okay. So how will you find the unit of Kb? Again, you every time you want to find the unit of a particular quantity, you write the expression first. Okay. So delta Tb is equal to Kb into m. All right, Kb into m. Okay. So Kb is what? Kb is delta Tb upon m. Okay. Delta Tb, you know, it can be written as centigrade or in Kelvin. Okay. So K upon m. Okay. So unit of Kb will be K molal inverse. Oh, K per molal, Kelvin per molal. Okay. You can yeah. All right. So unit of Kb will be Kelvin per molar or degree centigrade per molar. Okay, you can write this as a unit of Kb. Okay. So this will be as far as we will go today. Okay. So we have not finished the elevation of boiling point yet. In the next class, we will first take up the problems, a few problems on maybe one problem on the elevation of boiling point. Okay. And I will give you again the list of problems from the textbook. Okay. And then we will do the next topic of Polycratic property. The next topic of Polycratic property after elevation of boiling point will be depression of freezing point. Okay. So that's all for today. Thank you.